Hey everybody, good morning. I'm so glad to be with you today. Being with you and learning about our Jesus is my very favorite thing to do. We are going to get started with something silly. I have a bowl of grapes here. I like green grapes the best. What do you like? Green grapes or red? I like green. I have a bowl of grapes here and I'm going to do something really silly with them. I'm going to cram as many grapes in my mouth as I can. For reals. I want you to guess right now how many grapes you think I can cram in my mouth at once. Here's the size that they are. They're a little bit bigger than average, maybe. How many grapes do you think I can cram in my mouth at once? Say it out loud. Just take a wild guess. Okay, now here's the thing. If you're right, if you guess right, exactly right, to the number, let me know and I'll send you a prize in the mail, okay? I also want to let you know that I have a really big adult mouth and that I've sort of kind of trained for this. So this isn't something that I want you to copy, okay? It could be dangerous. It could make you choke. So I have worked on this. I've practiced how to do it safely. Please don't copy me, okay? How many do you think I can fit? Let's get started. I'm cramming them in as close as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Ew, that was disgusting. Why would I ever do something like that? Especially on camera, right? Gross. Well, there is a little bit of a point to my madness. Have you ever seen a tin of sardines? Or have you ever heard the phrase, we're packed in here like sardines? Okay, I want you to watch this video of a video that somebody took of sardines. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna show you. A video of a video. These are sardines, packed in like sardines. Isn't that disgusting? Look at how close they are. Look at those sardines. Ew, ooh, they're so squishy. They're all in there together. Okay, sardines packed in like sardines. They are really crammed in there. So close. And today we're going to talk about a man who, he was stuck in a sardines type situation, okay? But in order for us to talk about him, we're gonna have to go way back in time, okay? So let's rewind. Ready? Are we back? Yeah, sure. Genesis. We're back in the time of Genesis. Genesis chapter 6, in fact. And there was a man named, did you look it up? Noah. The Lord told Noah there's gonna be a floody. That is what we are talking about today. God gave him a super duper mission to accomplish. Does anybody remember what God told Noah to do? Cram grapes in his mouth? Not quite. God told Noah that he needed to build an ark. The Lord told Noah there's gonna be a floody. Lord told Noah there's gonna be a floody. Build it out of gopher barky. Build an ark, a boat, huh? But you wanna know what was so funny about that? This was totally an unknown into the unknown for Noah. Rain, that is. Rain is what I'm talking about. There was no rain. Nobody had ever heard of rain before. He was going into the unknown to build a boat, an ark, that he had never seen before, using plans that God gave him to prepare for rain, which he'd never seen before. Sounds like an unknown situation to me. He totally went into the unknown with God. Okay, I want to see how good of a guesser you are. Who thinks they know how long it took Noah to build the ark? 1 day? 15 months? As long as quarantine? You guys, it took 50 years, 50 years to build the ark. Can you believe that? Can you imagine working on anything for 50 years? Especially when the people around you call you crazy the whole time? Well, Noah did. He hammered away, saw, pound, pound, pound. He hammered away and he built the ark exactly the way God wanted him to build it. And then one day, after about 50 years, Noah heard God. Noah, 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 Noah. Go get two of every animal to bring on the ark, with your family. Now you can imagine Noah's surprise, right? He had just built this massive ark. It was huge, and he was expecting something called rain. And he was probably thinking, now that it's done, time to kick back, relax by the fire, stay warm. Maybe I'll get my own little room in the ark. All of his kids would have their own room in the ark. They could maybe have plasma TVs, right? All the fixtures. Just kidding. They had a mansion of a boat, a huge boat. It was huge, and Noah might have been thinking, I'm gonna live it up. But God didn't design the boat, the ark, just so Noah could live it up. God designed the ark so big so that Noah could fit all the animals on it. Now, pretty soon, Noah started to see something really strange. He even was like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? He saw animals heading straight for the ark. He saw giraffes. He saw chickens. He saw penguins waddling on up. He saw hedgehogs. He saw furry things. Birds, maybe. He saw the Sunday school. Oh, just kidding. Not the Sunday school lady. Oops, my mistake. He loaded all the animals onto the boat, and it was a super chill time. Just hanging out, no problems, no smells, pure bliss. Am I right? I am not right. Wrong. I am wrong. You guys, have you ever heard of the food chain? The food chain basically says that in order for humans to live, we eat certain animals, and in order for those animals to live, they eat certain animals, and on down the line until you get to something super small like an ant that eats crumbs, right? Did you ever think about the food chain in Noah's Ark? God told Noah to bring 2 of every kind of animal onto the ark. Only 2. Only the mama cow and the daddy cow. Only the mama bee and the daddy bee. Bzzz, mind your own business. There were no backup animals. Doesn't this seem to be kind of a problem to anybody but just me? Like, maybe the animals on the top of the food chain would, find some dinner on the ark and bam, no more monkeys. Wouldn't you think that if all these animals were stuck on the ark together, there would be some, casualties? Like, maybe God should bring an extra lion or a tiger or bear just in case one of the originals got eaten or died, so that they could repopulate the earth with lions, tigers, and bears. Now, the Bible doesn't tell us that there was no food chain on the ark, but it does tell us that Noah only brought 2 of every kind of animal. And if you've looked around a zoo lately, you've seen some lions, tigers, and bears. And I'm thinking that God must have done something super cool to make sure all of those animals were satisfied on the ark while they were there. And not just that, think of the smell. Oh my goodness. Animals are gross, like really gross. They smell really, really bad. Oh, and there's Noah and his family and 1,000 of his closest animal friends, all crammed in living space like sardines, waiting. Okay, maybe Noah didn't exactly hear God right. Maybe he got something wrong. Maybe he wasted 50 years and has been smelling bad for weeks and it was wrong. Maybe all of the people that were making fun of him were right. Waiting. And then 7 days later, something started to happen. It starts to rain. If you want to add in some real life sound effects, just like turn on your bathroom sink or your kitchen sink or something. Just kidding. Don't leave water unattended. That's a bad idea. Okay. Now we're at the point of the story where it's been raining for 150 days. That is a very, very, very long time. It would be like we had been on an ark with all these animals and our family since the beginning of June. Now, we have a little bit of a weird perspective because it feels like we've been shoved into our houses for quarantine for 7 months, but you still got to go all around your space and you only had humans and the pets that you wanted with you. Now imagine all of those animals. It would be like we'd been on an ark together since the very beginning of June. That's how long Noah had been on this boat. That's how long he was surrounded by these stinky, dirty animals, trying to keep them from eating each other, right? Meanwhile, outside, it's been all water. A lot of water. Water everywhere. Water from the sky, water on the ground, water left, water right. Everywhere. There was just water. So Noah waited. He waited, and he waited some more. Until one day, there was no more rain coming from the clouds. There was still water on the ground, but no more rain coming from the clouds, so Noah could just open the ark and walk right out on dry land, right? No way! It's still very wet out there. Do you remember after Harvey, the rain finally stopped, but the ground sure wasn't dry, right? There were still puddles, and by puddles, I mean oceans. Oceans of water outside. There was no way Noah was getting off the boat. So Noah waited for 40 days after it stopped raining. And then he opened the window and he sent out a raven. We're going to pretend like this was a raven. Okay? He opened the window and he sent out a raven, hoping the raven would come back with dry land. But the raven didn't. Then Noah sent out a dove and nothing. The dove just came right back to him. So Noah waited another week. There is still wind outside, drying up all the rain. Noah sends out a dove again. And this time, the dove comes back with a leaf. Aha! Evidence! A small piece of a tree! A small piece of a tree that signals what he has begun to find. Hope. Hope. There are trees above the water. There is land somewhere close by. And Noah waits another 7 days. He hopes it'll dry up even more and the boat will be able to land. He sends out the dove again. And the dove never returns. Yeah! Now, Noah knows that there is dry land somewhere, but Noah still waits. He waits on God. Noah waits on God to tell him what to do next. Now, most of us would have tried to rush out of that ark as soon as possible, right? Like you're wanting to bust out of your house from quarantine, or when we were waiting during Harvey for the rain to stop, and then it did, and you just wanted to run away. You wanted to run away from the smells and the people and get some space, right? He would want off that boat, and I'm sure that he did, but Noah waited. And do you know why? Because Noah knew that God had a plan. The same God that had created all of the living things, the same God that told him exactly how to build the ark, the same God that knew it would rain before rain even existed, the same God who kept the animals from being so hungry that they would want to eat each other, the same God who had a plan for everything up until this point. Yeah, Noah knew there was a plan for this part too. So Noah waited for God to tell him what to do next, when to come out of the boat. And then God did. And God said, "Noah, come out of the ark. You and your wife and your sons wives. Bring out every living creature with you. The birds, the animals, the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply and be fruitful and increase in number." So Noah listened. He and his wife and his sons and their wives, all the animals that were on the ark, they all piled out. It probably looked like some sort of mass chaos, right? Getting everyone out of that cramped little bitty living space. But they did it. And God was so proud of Noah for following him into the unknown and for following his plan. He was so proud, he gave him a little reward. What was that reward, you might ask? I'm here to tell you. God put a rainbow in the sky. A rainbow in the sky, the first rainbow of all time. And God said to Noah, "Never again will I send a flood to destroy the earth." Do you know what rainbows are made of? Rainbows are made when rain hits light. God is telling us something. When God put the rainbow in the sky, God was telling us that even when we mess up, even when our lives are stormy and yucky, if we look to God, the light of the world, to fix it, it will be okay. Our stormy lives mixed in with the light of God create something beautiful and colorful and wonderful called a rainbow. It creates a rainbow. God always has a plan for us. No matter what is going on in our lives, God is there for us, and God's plan is best. So when you see a rainbow, remind yourself of God's promise. Remind yourself that even when it's storming outside, the God who created light can create something extra beautiful with what you're going through right now. And all of that came about because Noah was willing to go into the unknown with God. Okay, everybody, this is the last week you have to say your books of the Old Testament and give Pastor Kobe a call and receive that hunk of cookie. Okay, this is the last week of our memory challenge. So to wrap us up this week, I'm going to say the books and I want you to fill in the blanks whenever I leave space. Okay, ready? Say it out loud, loud and clear. Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 1 Kings, 1 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Obadiah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Haggai, Zechariah. Could you do it? Could you fill in the blanks? I bet you could. You're awesome. Don't forget to give Pastor Kobe a call and tell him those books, and he will deliver a fresh hot cookie to you.
Hey friends, long time no see for some of you. For those of you that may have forgotten me, I am Mr. Michael, elementary Sunday school teacher, or better known to some of you as Madeline, Luke, and Joseph's dad. All right, since we're all here together right now, would you mind if I answer one of your questions that you asked in your Zoom call with Mrs. Karras a couple months ago? Yeah, okay. All right, let me look here in my email. All right, let's see. Oh, wow. Here's a doozy. Hudson asked, why did God let coronavirus happen? Man, that is a tough question. And that's a question that a lot of adults are asking themselves today too. Wow, that's going to be tough. Well, I'm going to do what I often do when I have a really tough question that I don't know the answer to. What do you think? Should I ask Alexa? Hey, Echo, why did God let coronavirus happen?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Well, she doesn't know. Let's see. I could ask Pastor Kobe. That's a good idea. He does know a lot of stuff, but he does get a little grouchy if you text him 20 times a day with really tough questions. He's a busy guy. Yeah. So what if we look in our Bibles? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'll look and see what the Bible has to say about that. And fortunately for us, I believe the Bible has an answer to this question right at the very beginning in the first book of the Bible. Who remembers what the first book of the Bible is called? Come on, we've talked about it. Genesis, that's right. Since we have both big kids and little kids on this recording today, I hope you don't mind if I read it from my storybook Bible. Okay, so hope you big kids don't mind, but I think this is going to be a great way to do it. I love this story, and I think it really answers the question really well. All right, so I'm going to read this story real quick, and then hopefully that'll answer our question about why did God let coronavirus happen. All right, let's see here. Adam and Eve lived happily together in their beautiful new home, and everything was perfect for a while. All right, you can see here it's very perfect. Look at the beautiful garden. Everything was perfect, right? Until the day when everything went wrong. All right, and here's what happened. God had given Adam and Eve only one rule. Don't eat the fruit on that tree, God told them. And it was that tree right there. They could eat any other tree, any fruit from any other tree they wanted, but not that one. Because if you do, you'll think you know everything. You'll stop trusting me, and then death and sadness and tears will come. You see, God knew if they ate the fruit, they would think they didn't need him, and they would try to make themselves happy without him. But God knew there was no such thing as happiness without him, and life without him wouldn't be life at all. As soon as the snake saw his chance, he slithered up to Eve and said, "Does God really love you? If he does, why won't he let you eat that nice, juicy, delicious fruit on that one tree? Poor you, perhaps God doesn't want you to be happy." The snake's words hissed in her ears and sunk down deep into her heart, into Eve's heart like poison. Does God love me? Eve wondered. Suddenly, she didn't know anymore. "Just trust me," the serpent whispered. "You don't need God. One small taste, that's all, and you'll be happier than you could ever dream of." So Eve picked the fruit and ate some, and then Adam ate some too. And a terrible lie came into the world. It would never leave. It would live on in every human heart, whispering to every one of God's children, "God doesn't love me." Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. All right. At that point, usually Adam and Eve loved to hear God's voice and would run to him. But this time they ran away from him and hid in the shadows. "Where are you?" God called. See, there they are. God's looking for them. "Hiding," Adam said. "We're afraid of you." "Did you eat that fruit I told you not to eat?" God asked them. Adam said, "Eve made me do it." Do you guys ever do that? So-and-so made me do it. That's what Adam did. Does that ever work? No, it doesn't work. No. And this time it didn't work with God. "What have you done?" God asked. And Eve said, "The serpent made me do it." A terrible pain came into God's heart. His children had just broken the one rule. They had one rule and they broke it. They had broken God's heart as well. They had broken their wonderful relationship with him, and now he knew everything else would break. God's creation would start to unravel and come undone and go wrong. From now on, everything would die, even though it was all supposed to last forever. You see, sin had come into God's perfect world, and it would never leave. God's children would always be running away from him and hiding in the dark. Their hearts would break now and never work properly again. God couldn't let his children live forever, not in such pain, not without him. There was only one way to protect them. "You will have to leave the garden now," God told his children, his eyes filling with tears. "This is no longer your true home. It's not the place for you anymore." I don't know if you noticed in that part. Yeah. So before Adam and Eve disobeyed God and ate the fruit, the world was God's perfect creation. There was no hunger. There was no mean people. There was no chores. There was, especially, and for our question today, there was no sickness and no viruses. None. They were set to live forever without ever getting sick. Then they ate the fruit of that tree they weren't supposed to do, and it brought all the sin and all those other bad things like chores and viruses into the world. God's perfect creation is not perfect anymore. That is a little frustrating, right? That's the bad news, and it stinks. It stinks to see people getting sick, right? It stinks that we can't go to church anymore. And it stinks that we can't go to the movies. And it stinks that everyone has to wear all those masks all the time. Goodness. But there is good news. The good news is that God still loves us, even though we make mistakes, right? And we sin just like Adam and Eve did, right? We do bad stuff. The good news is that God sent Jesus to forgive all of our mistakes. All of our mistakes, all my mistakes, all your mistakes, all the mistakes that go all the way back to every human being since Adam and Eve. Even that first sin where they ate the fruit they weren't supposed to eat. And the other good news is that one day Thanks to Jesus' sacrifice, we will get to be with God again, just like Adam and Eve before they ate the fruit. That's the good news, is one day it'll be like that with no chores, no viruses, no nothing. It'll just be us hanging out with God again, just like Adam and Eve in that garden. And, we'll just be hanging out with God like that again. All right. All right. Thanks for the great questions. Keep them coming. I look forward to seeing you guys again real soon. Bye, guys.
You guys, as we get ready to go today, I came outside where the beautiful weather, the crisp, cool in the air, the wind is blowing, the sky is blue, and it makes me remember how great our great big God is. God is so big and so strong, and there's nothing our God cannot do. Will you pray with me? God, thank you for my friends. Thank you for the Bible that teaches us. Thank you for the faith of Noah. Thank you for his example that we can trust you into the unknown. God, thank you for the wind that reminds us you are very present. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for the rainbow that reminds us that you are with us. That you, God, always keep your promises. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Bye, friends. I'll see you next week.